Today's sponsor is Encore Live, Sarasota Bradenton's #1 destination for live entertainment. Dan Graf, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having
Nobody's fool is in the house. You know what I tell people about you, man? I say you have the best guitar tone. Your guitar tone live, and I've told you this years ago.
You have.
To this day, I see a lot of guitar players. I see a lot of bands. Your tone, dude, I don't know. We're going to have to tell the audience what you're doing, what you're playing through, but you have pure energy, rock and roll, kick-ass tone.
Well, I'm a tone snob. There's actually a term for it for guitar players. Tone snobs know who they are. They know what they do to, I'm never satisfied with, what I hear. So it's a constant challenge to try to get everything just right. And sometimes it's creates a problem because it takes up a lot of time, but I can't help it.
Two things I'm going to add. A, you've been chasing tone probably for many, many, many years. So this ain't your first time at the rodeo.
No.
Right. So you have a system, obviously. And number two, yes, your sound checks are probably the longest of any band I've ever heard.
Yeah. It's because half the time we don't even have a sound guy. We just, we take our old settings and we go out and we listen and we say, that sounds good. We, as guitar players, one of the biggest things when it comes to sound is, and I don't know how many times you've gone to see a really great band and then the guitar solo comes around and you're struggling to hear what he's playing.
That happens to my band.
All the time. And what happens is you got a sound guy who's sleeping. He's not paying attention. He doesn't know the song. The guitar solo starts. He doesn't slide up the volume until you're partway through the guitar solo. Or he doesn't turn it up enough, or he doesn't turn it up at all. He's busy talking to some girl or whatever. And that's not all sound guys. So, a lot of sound guys are very good at what they do, but you can't trust that. So Jimmy and I, we have a system where we have a set boost volume. So you hear our guitar solos when they're coming.
But can you click in and click out of it?
Yeah.
Because what's to prevent the band from just getting louder and louder and louder during the course of the night,
Well, it's only designed for the intro of a song, which traditionally is a guitar introduction, like the initial riff of a song. Like if you're playing "A Whole Lot of Love" by Led Zeppelin, that initial riff comes in, it's in your face, and then it's scaled back a little bit because the singing's coming in. So we only use it for those things, the intro of a song. Or like sometimes in the middle of a song, there's a part where the band steps out and the guitar will just play a part by itself, not necessarily a guitar solo, but a part by itself. You'll kick in a boost that stands out and then you kick it back out.
Right.
So we do that throughout the night. The louder and louder comes in, that comes in as the energy, goes up in the band.
And then ear fatigue sets in too.
Yeah, absolutely. Drummer starts to play harder. So what you could hear before now is harder to hear. Drummer's pounding away, emotion gets the better of everybody. And then you'll find guys tweaking their sound a little bit during the, at the end of the day, we need to hear what we're doing. So, that's probably the biggest factor.
Now, your band does not use inner ears, correct? You guys all have wedges?
I hate those things. I mean, the other guys like them, but I can't stand them. And my understanding, there's better ones out now where you can feel the energy and you can hear what's going on around you. You can hear the crowd and all that kind of stuff. But I can't stand to have, my ears plugged up. And I was told, okay, well, just put one in, and that will help. It's constantly falling out. I've tried them and it's not live music enough for me.
Most rock guys like you, like classic hard rock guys, don't wear the ears because they want to feel it. They want to hear it. Plus, you're also a front man, which makes a difference.
Yeah.
It's not like you're in the back hanging out, not interacting. You're interacting and engaging with the audience.
Right. Um, I like to, um, I mean, we're not getting rich doing this. We do this because we still can. We're having a great time doing it. I'll probably do it till I fall over. Um, my wife knows that. All my friends know that. I told them I'll be knocking on their door. It's time for rehearsal when I can barely walk. Um, but I do it because I really enjoy the sound of live music, and when I'm on stage, like drummers, I don't know. I used to be a drummer too at one time. I played bass. I did a little bit of everything, but when I was a drummer, one of the biggest uh, things I couldn't stand about being a drummer is you hear all drums. You barely get the mix of everybody else, and all you hear is all drums. So once I started to play guitar, and this is a long time ago, I started to play guitar. Our drummer would complain about that, and I said, "Well, let's fix that." So we put a monitor mix for him, and he got a full mix of whatever the band, whatever the people were hearing. So we would actually put a speaker that was going out to the crowd. We put that next to him so he would hear the, and it would make the drummer feel the music. He would get much more excited. He liked what he was doing more energy, all the above. And once you do that, you can't go back.
You know, it's funny because all of our drummers, like our regular guys, Jared Johnson, but then our fill-ins, they all use inners
Uh-huh.
and they have their own system and they got it down so they can put whatever they want in there.
Yeah. And that's great. But like I said, nobody in our band uses in-ears. Not to say that, it may or may
Look,
not
it's
come. It
not
won't.
rock and roll. Inner ears are not a rock and roll thing, dude.
Yeah, it won't be
You know what
for
I'm
me.
saying?
I can tell you
I
that
mean,
much.
if you were in like doing a casino and you had like these 55-minute sets, that were on the clock, and it was like a production.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different story. But
Yeah.
you're playing rock and roll. I want to talk about the music now
Okay.
because you choose wonderful classic rock hits, man. Like you're doing shit that no one's doing. You're doing Rush, great
Right.
example.
Right.
Obviously, you're known for your Ted Nugent. You do a kick-ass version of Ted Nugent, man. Stranglehold.
Yeah. Well, in case you haven't noticed, there's a lot of bands doing Stranglehold right now. I'm really surprised that
Yeah, but you started that trend, bro.
I did. And sometimes the wife will get upset about it. Look, they're all playing your sound. That's not my music. It's Ted's music. I'm playing it. And I tell lots of people, I say, you know what? I'm okay with that. Some people get upset when other bands, take songs from your set list. Um, as far as I'm concerned, all that's doing is just spreading the popularity of a song that might be 30
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah, we don't own the songs.
The people
but-
forgot.
But nobody will ever match your ability to play that song. I mean, everybody knows that you're the fucking king in that song.
Well, I try to
'Cause
get
you got the voice, too.
as close
I mean,
as,
you know
as
what I'm
I
saying?
can. Yeah. And I play an actual hollow body.
Yeah.
The other guys do it with whatever guitar they're playing. I mean, I actually own a 1968 Gibson Birdland, same guitar that Ted used. You can't duplicate that sound with any other guitar.
You know what's funny?
So,
Everybody talks about Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck. There's a whole list of guitar players, but people don't really talk about Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent is one of the greatest American guitar players, but his voice, he's kind of left out of the conversation because I think maybe his politics, maybe his his ethics, whatever his attitude.
Absolutely.
But he is by far. I mean, he put Detroit rock and roll on the map, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I mean, you can't, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that Derek St. Holmes sang a lot of those songs. He sang Stranglehold. Um, but Ted sang a couple of songs too. I mean,
Free for all.
he did his share of songs. Absolutely. And I think he's got a
Cat
much
scratch.
better voice than he gets credit for. Live, he kind of comes unglued and just, if you have never seen Ted live, it's a
I was just going to say
whole
that
other ballgame.
to the viewers right now,
Yeah.
the listeners. Say, listen, if you get Ted Nugent is probably still touring, I would assume.
Absolutely.
So if anyone's listening to this podcast and you got to go see Ted Nugent. I saw him several times. He was always the opener act for like Kiss
Yeah.
or Aerosmith or something. And he would just for like 90 minutes, the guy would run around like a maniac, jump around. He just had so much energy. It was insane.
Yeah, but all those bands opened for him back in the late 70s. A lot of people don't realize that. They opened for him. And then later on, when the 80s rolled around, Aerosmith had their second time
MTV.
around and all that kind of stuff. Then he opened for them, but they all started out opening
Oh
up for
yeah, I
him.
mean, and I'm sure they're all great friends, right? They all
Yeah,
know each other from the years
yeah,
and years of touring, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The Cat Scratch Fever album was, I think, the first Nugent experience I got, and I could tell you Thousand Knives, right? Working hard, playing hard. Like I still know all those tracks, and I still listen to it from time to time, and it's a great, great record.
Best Ted Nugent album ever, hands down, is Double Live Gonzo.
Oh, yep, that's a good one. If anybody wants to get mellow, you can turn around and get the M out of here.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, you know, you may think you're really an amazing guitar player for whoever out there plays and does your thing. You've got your style, you got all your stuff, but try to pull off some of that stuff in Double Live Gonzo. I do try to pull it off. It's hard. It's hard to play a hollow body where you have limited access to the upper
Right.
scale of things. So you have to make best with what you have down in the lower scale of the neck. He does a lot of crazy stuff that nobody else does in guitar playing. His note bends, his tone is just insane off of Double Live Gonzo. Every day I sit
He had a
down.
wall of Marshalls, dude.
No,
No,
no, Fender.
he plays Fenders.
Fender twin reverbs. And it started out back in the day when he took and he had people that he watched and he learned from, and he had his idols back in the day as well. But once he took a Birdland and plugged it into a Fender twin, and there's just something about, but you got to move air. It's got to be loud. I can't do that. He can get away with it.
Right.
But his sound changed after, we got into the 80s and then into the 90s. His sound changed because he just couldn't do that all the time. For one, his hearing. But you figure, a 80-watt twin reverb, and he'd chain three of them together in three big cabinets underneath that and just turn them all the way up. There's no master volume on a twin reverb. You don't get all that sustain and all that attitude and all that. You don't get that until you turn all the dials up. But by then, nobody can hear. So, but all the original stuff he did back in the studio in the early days was, um, small Fenders, 40 watts. Those old school tweeds, Fender tweeds, like Cat Scratch Fever and Stranglehold, they were all, but you're talking about hand-wired circuitry. Leo Fender was a genius, so much so that Marshall stole everything they know from Leo Fender. A lot of people don't know that. The original JTM 45, the first Marshall that came out, that was a copy of Fender Bassman, period. And then when they came out with the Plexis, he decided he was going to take the rectifier tube out and use a solid state rectifier. And what that does to an amplifier is it tightens everything up, takes the flub out and all that kind of stuff. And then came the Plexi sound. And then everybody went nuts after that, because that Fender twin reverb doesn't have a rectifier tube. It has a solid state rectifier. And that's how Ted was able to get that out of it. Doesn't have a master volume, so you couldn't get that preamp volume and use it. You just had to turn everything up. And that's what they did with those old Fenders back in the day. But that's a sound that everybody's been chasing for years and years and years and years. Every one of the manufacturers, they are all chasing that old Fender sound, that old Fender tweed sound. And it just kind of morphed over the years, adding preamps to it and more tubes. And I mean, even people don't realize, like a Mesa Boogie, with all the overdrive that you get out of a Mesa Boogie, that's an original Fender design. Mesa Boogie stole it from Fender as well.
Interesting.
And they just kept cascading the preamp tubes so that they would get more and more drive out of the preamp tubes. but the preamp tube sound is very thin. It's the little tubes, class AB. Once you get past a certain volume, the power amp tubes set in. That's where all the magic happens. The power amp tubes.
Let's
A lot of people don't know
cool. Let's talk about Nobody's Fool. Why the name?
that.
Or how the name?
Oh boy. Um, well, I I met Steve Corkins back in 2010.
Explain to the viewers who Steve Corkins is.
He's our original bass player, and he put an ad in the paper looking for a guitar player, somebody who could sing. I was done playing baseball dad. I did all that stuff. I used to play, back up north, and then I didn't play for. I lived here for God 15, 15 years. Never played with any band. Didn't do any of that stuff. Then once the boy got his own car and his own friends and all that kind of stuff. So then I answered the ad. Steve and I got together and we were looking for drummers. We found a drummer. And the three of us decided, okay, we need to find a name. We actually played a couple of gigs with no name. And they're like, you guys are really good. Who are you? So we decided we'd go home and everybody would write down a bunch of names, all the names they could possibly think of that weren't already taken. And then we'd come back and then we'd put them all down and we were going to decide the best 5 names out of all the names we came up with. And once we had the 5 names, I had something completely different in mind, and the other 2 guys wanted Nobody's Fool. I lost what do you call it? The draw. I drew the short straw, and not that I didn't like it, but the first thing I thought was, it kind of sounds like a Cinderella tribute band. They're like, nah, we'll get away from that. Cinderella's long gone. They're past from that. We'll get a lot of that. And you don't play any Cinderella? You don't even play Nobody's Fool? No, we don't. Um, not that not that Cinderella's a bad band, but it's impossible to sing Tom Kiefer. I mean, he even ruined his own voice and he couldn't sing for, I don't know, 8 or 10 years because he just couldn't sing like that. Um, so that's how we ended up with the name, and the rest is kind of history.
How about the logo? Who created the logo?
It was our very first drummer, Chris Miller, and he said, "You know what? I like the 38 special, right in your face kind of thing." And we kind of went, "Okay, well then let's put the name across the top over that, and let's just make it kind of a circle. We'll put our information around the bottom." And it started out. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the original logo anywhere. It started out kind of like Miami Dolphins colors. Do you ever see any of
No.
those? I still have some of the original stickers that were that color. It's like a turquoise blue and a kind of a orangish and black and white in there. And it looked like we were playing for the Dolphins. Um, so, later on down the line, I said, you know what, let's just do the black and white and gray thing. And I came up with the black and white one. And then that's what it's been ever since. Um, I always say to people, because we made a ton of these stickers. I say to people, you know what, even if you don't like the band, it's a really cool sticker. Put it on your bike. Nobody will crawl up your ass
Yeah.
if they're in a car and they're creeping up on you when that sticker's on the back bumper.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
Hey, so what can people expect when they come to a Nobody's Fool concert? I say a first timer.
Um, First timer. Well, I mean, I've already discussed what a kind of a tone snob I am. Is um,
Do you want to knock them out, hit them in the mouth with the very first song,
yeah. Well,
and then take them on a ride, or do you try to build up and have some kind of game plan?
well, it's hard now. Like you said, I do. I sing a lot of songs, and I sing a lot of songs. I'm kind of all over the place. Anything from from Rush, and then we do. It's not actually Steel Heart. It's actually from the movie
Yeah, I
Rockstar.
love that movie.
we do that song, "We All Die Young."
Oh, great song.
So I'm
Great
singing some
song.
of this higher stuff where
Yeah.
your voice is a lot cleaner. In fact, I kinda have to do those early on because once I
Yeah.
start to kinda build up a rasp, I can't pull that off late in the second set or the third set.
Do
So
you
that drives a lot of it.
do you warm up your voice? Do you do actual drills and do something to kinda get it going, or you just go start singing from scratch?
Well, I'll tell you as far as warm up goes, not warm up, test runs. And what I mean by that is because I sing so many songs. I mean, our drummer Sean sings some of the stuff as well. He's a really
Does
good.
Jimmy C sing it at all?
A lot of background vocals, but he doesn't sing any of the songs per se. Um, it's nice. We got 4 guys who can sing in the
Right.
band. I mean, that's hard to
That's
come by.
rare. Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have one good background, backup singer, but we've got 4. So it works out really nice. But um, so what happens is I have to sing earlier in the day knowing that I got a gig coming up and find out what my range is. What can I do? What can I pull off? How does my voice feel today? That way, I got a kind of got an idea what we are going to do and what we might not be able to do. There's just some days where I know I'm not going to pull off Rush. I just got over a cold or I've got allergy issues or whatever. I just know I'm not going to. And there's some days when I've got a vocal range and I'm like, I got to pinch myself. Like, I'm getting old here. I shouldn't have this high of a voice. And I'm happy. I'm lucky to be able to pull that stuff off. So I take advantage of it. And when I know it feels good, we'll
Sure.
do those songs that
So
night.
so my next question would be there's no set list per se as far as a predetermined. You just call out the songs as you wanna play that night?
Well, there is. We have a set list. And sometimes everybody we distribute out and everybody knows what they're all
So
gonna
there's a game
play.
plan.
There is a game plan, yeah. And when we do it like that, I'll skip over songs if I know I'm not gonna be able to pull them off, I'll skip over. And sometimes, and you probably know this as long as you've been doing this, is sometimes you have to play the crowd. You know, the next song might be a little mellow, and it's like, "Wait a minute, I can't do that right now." Because everyone's crazy, they're excited, and they're on their feet and they're losing their mind. I've gotta keep that vibe going. So the set list changes. And, I mean, I don't know who do you arrange your set list? Do you decide
I
what's
set it
next?
up and then I run it
Somewhat
by the singer, and then she gives me the green light, thumbs up, thumbs down, we move, and then we publish it. But to your point, yes, we will deviate off of it, because I'm not a guitar player, I'm a bassist. Usually, a guitar player could just start playing that riff, and then we would all know. So the communication has to be I turn to Sarah, Sarah turns to Larry, Larry turns to the drummer, so we could do it in seconds, we can all communicate.
Sure, sure, and yes, that's kind of exactly how it works, but I'll know in advance. Sometimes before the show starts, I'll say, "I'm gonna be jumping over this, I'll be jumping over that." Um, but like I said, when you're kinda playing the crowd and playing, the energy, um, I'll tell the guys, when you get to a certain song, it's like, "No, we're doing this one. Hang with me." And I'll start the song. They'll know, "Oh, that one." And then, you can change as that goes.
So you're giving your fans a true rock show, man, from the opening note to the end. I mean, I've been to your shows, dude, and it's just electrifying. Like you play hard. You do two or three hard sets. There's no fluff. There's no fucking filler, right? It's all killer.
And yeah, I mean, our overall concept is to try to play, and it doesn't always work out that way, but for the most part, from the very get-go, we decided that we were going to play all the songs that people wanna hear. Everybody agree? We're gonna play songs that people wanna
But
hear,
but 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 a hard rock
but nobody else
category.
but nobody else plays.
So the
That's the
Rush
hard.
is a great example.
Yeah, there's
We
there's a
All Die Young is a great
there's just a
example.
bunch of songs that nobody else plays, like we do "Won't Get Fooled Again." I don't know anybody else who
Right.
plays "Won't Get Fooled Again." So there's songs that people grew up with that they love, and nobody else does them. Yeah, we're gonna try to pull that one off.
Now, do you go into like other categories? Like, do you do some Southern rock? Like you maybe hit some 38 or some almonds or Skinner.
Yeah, I mean, and we've kind of morphed over the years a little bit, and that's based on the clubs that you're playing and the gigs that are coming up. Like, um, we'll play the we'll play the Bottle House out in Riverview, and the Bottle House in Riverview, it's just a heavier crowd.
It's
It's
known as a rock and roll
Yeah,
hard rock bar.
it's mostly Tampa.
Yeah. Sinner, my friend
It's a
Sinner's
heavy crowd.
band plays there.
Yeah, you can't go in there and play the Goo Goo Dolls.
Right.
It just you can, and we have. But they talk and they ignore you and they want you to kick them in the
Right.
face.
Right.
And they play till late there too. I mean, I don't know about you, but 20 to 2, people are walking in the
I know.
door.
I know.
I
Gator clubs like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They're walking in the door and you're still entertaining and you're half asleep, but you have to entertain those people. And I mean, we this all started from the very beginning when I said, if you look at our logo, it says nobody's fooling. On the bottom, it says rock with an attitude. That's on purpose. Um, the attitude is the Ted Nugent stuff, some of the harder Led Zeppelin stuff, some of AC/DC and Bad Company, like, kind of a little bit more harder rock songs, like you said. But once again, they still have to be songs that people want to hear, that they grew up with and nobody plays them.
So
Try to pull that off.
so that's your niche, man, is like your sound obviously is very unique, but the fact that you're playing really good kick-ass rock songs that no other bands don't do. So that makes it a memorial experience. You're unique in that sense that you're creating an experience for the people that are there in front of you. People will probably say, "Holy shit, I just can't believe that they just did fucking Closer to the Heart."
Right.
Like who does that shit?
We've heard
And
it.
plus, looking at you, you wouldn't think that you have that kind of voice that you can hit those fucking notes.
That's funny that you say that because we were playing at the Bottle House one day, and this night, and I don't know if there was a band, I can't remember. There's a big band in Tampa, and we had only played the Bottle House a couple of times, and they actually came out to see us because they had heard about this band out of Sarasota that does all this stuff that nobody else does. And they came out and they're watching us, and we started out. We played like "Flirting with Disaster" and a lot
That's a
of
great opener.
yeah, it is a great
Fuck.
opener. It's a kick him in the face right off the bat. And we're playing a lot of that stuff, and then I came in to the intro with "Closer to the Heart." In the And I just did "Closer to the Heart." A little bit later on, I started singing Led Zeppelin and all this kind of stuff. So then the guys in between the first and second set, they came out to us and goes, "Oh, you guys are great." But you know what? I'll be honest with you. When you started off playing, the Molly Hatchet and all that growly stuff, and then you came in with the intro to "Closer to the Heart," the first thing that came to mind, all of us said, "No way. No way. It's not going to happen." Um, and they're like, "Dude, and you pulled it off." So, well, it's early in the night. I can pull it off early in the night. So, trying to get the guys to do some Triumph. One of my favorite bands of all time is Triumph. Rick Emmett is impossible to sing, but I got some stuff I think I can pull off.
Yeah.
So
How about Zebra?
Zebra.
Tell me what you want.
Yeah, I remember Zebra. Um, I thought they were a cool band. I was not a real big glam metal guy, if that makes any sense. Um, as glam as I got was when I heard, like everyone else, when I heard Eruption come out, I just lost my mind. I
Sure.
said, "No, that's 3
I
guitar
think
players."
every musician remembers the first time they put the needle down and they heard Eddie Van
Oh,
Halen,
absolutely. The
right?
the collective world lost their
Right.
minds when they heard
That
Eruption.
sound was very unique, that whole first album.
So it changed me a lot. And I would say the only drawback is that, my entire focus was like this. I had, kind of tunnel vision to try to capture that sound and that style of playing. And what it did is it put me in a box a little bit, and I don't really play like that anymore, but there was a day when Eruption was with my eyes closed.
Yeah, right.
I'm not that kind of
Well,
guitar
so
player
that
anymore.
takes me to my next set of questions. What were you listening to as a kid? Like, what the great player that you are today, like, what shaped you at a young age, man? What were the records you had in your turntable?
It's really bizarre. When I first started playing the guitar, um, when I first started playing a guitar, I I was not a big Led Zeppelin fan, a little bit, not a big Aerosmith fan. When 2112 came out, I lost my mind. That was an absolutely
But that
amazing
correct me if
album.
I'm wrong, but that's kinda hard shit to play at a for a young kid.
It is. It is, and that's why things were all messed up. But I was a big, like really early on when I was like, I don't know. I started playing guitar when I was 12. So um we played a lot of the Who. We did a lot of Who stuff off of that, some of those albums back then. Um Played a little bit of Black Sabbath, some of that early stuff, but not a lot. But I was a big Who fan back in the day. And I think what really got me going guitar playing wise was the first time I played Double Life Gonzo, and the first time I heard 2112, that Rush was just amazing. But I was all over the place. I mean, I liked Yes back then when they came out with all that Yes stuff. I knew all that stuff cover to cover. Boston's first album
So the
was
'70s
was
was fantastic. That was
amazing.
'76, I think. The '70s were great for that all that music. Kansas, right?
Oh, Kansas, absolutely.
But
That
what
was
about, like, did the Beatles and Stones have any influence on you, man?
I that's where when I was going with it put me in a box once I heard Eddie Van Halen. When I heard the Stones, and when I heard some of the other, I learned to run before I ever learned to walk, guitar
Right.
wise. And any of any of your really good guitar players, anyone, even in the city in the area, they even know it's not necessarily a good thing to learn to run before you can walk.
Yeah,
You miss a lot
sure.
because everything is blues based, so you miss a lot of
Those scales.
the typical
Are you
progressions and all
self-taught,
that kind of
man, or
stuff.
did you take lessons?
I never took a lesson in my life.
Really?
Yeah, so I learned how to play. I learned how to play out of a book called The Heavy Guitar Bible. That's how I learned to play guitar.
Is that book still out there, but somebody younger people can go get it?
Yeah, and it's you know what? Back in the day, it was an amazing book. I mean, it's once I learned to play guitar, learned to play some lead guitar and some progressions and stuff like that. Um, that's when I got into Jimmy Page and more Led Zeppelin stuff because there's a bunch of Led Zeppelin um, runs, guitar licks, and things like that in that book. And it really, I tell people, you know what, if but see now it's so easy to just go to YouTube and watch somebody
Oh, yeah.
play it. And
A lot of people do.
I didn't have that back
Right,
then.
none of us did. Tell us about your first band, your first real band where you were, like, gigging out and you were getting paid and people your friends were coming.
Oh, that's funny. Um, Very first band I was in, I was the uh, I was the drummer.
Alright, so you didn't mention because all this time you're playing guitar,
Yeah,
did you also have a drum kit and you were just messing around there?
absolutely.
So you were good at both, I mean,
Absolutely. I played
okay.
drums, I played guitar, I
At
had
a
a
young age.
bass guitar. Yeah, I just if you saw my bedroom, I got my first job, I was delivering papers when I was 12, and I got my first job when I was 15, and I would just hoard my money and buy musical gear. My bedroom was like a music store. I had
And your parents were cool with that? They were supportive?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But when you walked into my bedroom, you had to walk around things because there was a drum set up, a PA system, and at the time, I mean, I was young. There weren't like crazy bands that were playing all over the place. We were too young to play in a
What town are you
club.
from?
I was born and raised in Milwaukee,
So this is all taking place in Wisconsin,
all taking
as
place
we're
in
talking
Wisconsin.
about these.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
were there a lot of kids your age that were also like you found other musicians? It was easy to find musicians back then?
Um, yeah, I mean, there were guys that I went to school with, and the first time I heard that, and this is why I chase the tone. First time I heard that tube sound, a friend of mine goes, "Hey, come on over." He says, because all the amplifiers that we could afford were just solid state garbage amps that they sounded like, AM radios. And he goes, "Check this out." And he took his guitar cord and he plugged it into his old stereo. It was an old tube stereo. And he goes, "Listen to this." And he turned it all the way up. And his tubes got hot and he started playing My Generation by the Who and Can't Explain and some of that stuff. And I'm like, well, that's amazing. That's incredible. I can't believe the sound is coming out of there. And and we're just kids, so but he was just showing me the tube sound. We were discovering the tube sound, but all the big boys, they were playing out of the Fenders and the Marshalls already. Just couldn't afford anything like that. So we didn't know any better. Um,
So is it safe to say as you progressed and got older, you got better equipment, bigger sounds, right? More power? Was that the transition going as you got
oh
older?
yeah. Yeah. Um, and I'll be honest, I tried the digital thing because everybody was doing it. They got a processor and all that kind of stuff. I tried it. And it's funny is that when you're sitting in your bedroom and you plug into some of this stuff, you're like, wow, that sounds amazing. That's it. Because some of the stuff is really incredible today. And but when you go out to see a band and you hear their sound, and my ear knows right away, it's all ice picky and thin, and it sounds like an AM radio. I notice it right away. And, you know, it, my wife realizes it because I've pointed it out to her and some of the wives for the band. They're like, oh, yeah, I could tell what he was playing out of. And I said, that's the sound we're trying to avoid. Because if you think people don't know that, they do. They just deal with it and they're like, this is great. It's my favorite song. I like it. They dance. They're having a good time. But that in your face live music is coming out of tube amps. Like my current amp that I play of right now is a 1976 50-watt Marshall. You can't touch that sound. That tone is
Do you still go to
the same.
concerts, man? Like when AC/DC was in town, did you go see them?
Yeah, I still go to see that
Like
stuff because
Metallica was in town. They like
I've never seen Metallica. I was never a big
because
Metallica
to your
fan.
point,
Yeah.
sometimes you go to a concert and you're disappointed by the sound. But when I went to see AC/DC, it was a wall of sound that was a pretty impressive.
Well, that's
And
because
then
he's
and then
playing
and
out
then
of those old
Metallica was
Marshalls.
the greatest concert I've ever seen, and I'm not even a Metallica fan, but I saw them, I couldn't believe how good it was. I ran home and downloaded a bunch of shit.
And you're like me. You appreciate live music. It may not even be your genre, but oh my God,
But the
did you hear what
technology
they
now is different that every seat in this freaking is amazing. I saw the Eagles at the Tampa Stadium where the hockey team plays a couple years ago, and even though we were in the nosebleed in the way back, it was crystal freaking clear,
yeah, they
and I
can
was
they
like,
can
"Holy shit."
disperse that sound out and you get to hear it, that live music from everywhere. Um, oh, I gotta add this though. As there is one person that I heard pull off a digital sound, and you know who he is. It's I heard I went to see Twinkle one time and Lenny Brooks was playing out of something. And his tone and his sound was fantastic. And Lenny's a great guitar player.
Yeah,
And his tone is always
he's
fantastic.
one of the best in the area.
And I'm listening to this, I'm going, wow, his tone sounds fantastic. And I go over in between sets and I'm like, Lenny, what are you playing on? And he shows me this digital box. And I'm like, you are the first and only that have ever heard make this sound good. And I'm sure there's other people, but most people, and I said to him, I'll bet you I know how you're getting your sound. You're not using any of the presets because that's stuff that they put together for your bedroom and all that kind of stuff in the factory. Those are garbage. You start from scratch. You put together the best possible guitar tone you can with no effects whatsoever. And once you get that, then you layer onto your delays and all that kind of stuff. And that's what he did. That's what I do with my vocal processor. A lot of people say, oh, I use a vocal processor. Well, we don't have a sound guy at the time. A vocal processor, I put together the best possible vocal sound I can get. None of the stuff, none of the patches in the system do I ever use. And then I layer the reverb I want. I layer the delay I
You're very
want,
good
the
at that. I
EQ I
remember we
want.
reached out to you, me and my bandmates, several years ago, because we got a processor, we didn't know how to use it, and you gave us some pointers.
Yeah, and I said exactly the same thing. N- don't use any of that stuff. You can use the patch, whatever that patch is, um, and whatever that algorithm is, but just zero it all out and start from scratch. And that's what I do, and I just put them together on my own. Those are the patches, and at the time, I think it was, I think Dana asked me,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
and
about.
I said,
Yeah.
"That's what you have to do," and then you have to layer, on top of that. She wanted to know how to use the thing more so, and I said, "That's the easy part, using it, because you're just pushing buttons when the different patches come up.
Yeah, but setting it up is the real.
Setting it up is but see, at the time, I was still learning, how to set up each of the patches. At the time, I only had, like, 3 patches that were usable that I liked. So, um, now I've gotten much better at them, and I have 2 of them. I always have a backup and so on, but and believe it or not, I even use it when we have like we played we opened up for that Van Halen tribute band out of the Twisted Fork. And I even use my vocal processor then. I go to the sound guys, I have a vocal processor, this is what I'm
Was
gonna
it
do.
Nate?
Um
He's one of the best.
a younger guy with a
Yeah,
ponytail
it's probably Nate.
back here.
We love playing the Twisted Fork because they make us sound great every time.
They're such nice people there, and they're such a professional setup, and they're so user friendly. I mean,
You
it
must have
doesn't
did
get
really
better.
well opening up for that band because there was a lot of rockers in that audience. I bet that Van Halen tribute. They probably loved you guys.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I mean, we had such a good time. There were a lot
You
of
know what
people
happens
there.
sometimes because we opened up for several tributes. Sometimes the fans like the opening band better because they get to hear a variety of music. Sometimes they're just stuck with Boston or they're stuck with Aerosmith.
Yeah.
And if you're not a diehard Boston or Aerosmith guy,
Yeah,
but then
I
you
could
but then you hear a band that's playing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this.
yeah. Yeah, I agree, and I would be that guy that's sitting there. And not that I don't like Van Halen, because I love Van Halen. But, I mean, really, I wanted to see that band.
Hey man, you know what? You guys are really good. You ever think about starting a tribute band? Because the tribute bands make a lot of freaking money.
Oh, believe me, I've thought about it a couple of times. I thought
Well, what would you
about
choose, man? Because you could play pretty much anything, but what would you choose to be the tribute? Like, I don't know what I would do. I'd like to be in a Springsteen tribute, but I don't think that would sell. I don't think anybody gives a shit about Springsteen down here.
probably not. Um, I've talked to the guys about it, and I've kicked around a couple of times a Ted Nugent tribute, because I don't know one that's
Yeah, I don't know. There
anywhere
is not.
around here. I don't know of
There's
any.
not.
But I don't look anything like Ted Nugent,
Right. That you see, that is
and
an
I
important part.
just
You
it
have to have
is,
someone that
yeah.
has to look the role.
Yeah, you're doing the whole, you're
Some of
doing
these
the whole
guys
thing.
wear wigs, dude. Like we opened up for a band and they went and changed, put on the wigs, the outfits. They came out. They look great. They look nothing like they looked like when they rolled in, but they had to because they had to play. And then
Right.
there was a Cars tribute, and they all looked like the Cars. It was hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah, they pull that off, but I mean,
But they're getting paid big money to do
I'm
it. So
I'm trying to pull off I would be trying to pull off a guy who's like Ted's gotta be like 6'2", and he's kind of a lanky, skinny
and he's got the
guy,
tail. He's wearing a tail,
and
running
he's
around.
got the tail and all that. That's the Ted Nugent
Um,
people wanna see. I mean, really.
right. No, but you can still pull it off because you would just sound so much like him. Just
Yeah.
it's a
I'd
tribute to
have to
Ted.
lose like 30 pounds and get, all twiggy and stuff to get that. eh, And I was,
You ever meet him?
yeah. Um,
'Cause
no,
some of these guys do signings, man. You pay more
I,
for that. Like Gene
I,
Simmons.
I did not meet him, but my wife got me for my birthday. She got me one of those, I forget what the hell they call them, where it's a cameo. You ever see those
Yeah.
cameos? Yeah, I have it on my phone. It's a Ted Nugent cameo where he talks. And he said, "Hey, Dan, happy
Yeah,
birthday, blah, 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 blah." And he talks about my wife. He talks about what we do
that's
and all that kind of
wonderful.
stuff.
That's a great
And I'm
gift.
watching, I'm like, how did you get this? And I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And when he was all done, it was the longest cameo in history. It was 5 minutes
So he did it
of
right
him
then.
to, yeah, but most cameos are like 30
Right,
seconds, a minute.
right.
Sometimes you'll get 2 minutes, but not 5 minutes. He took out his Birdland. He played, he talked, he sang through the whole thing.
That's nice.
And, and he goes, "So happy birthday, Dan." He says, "How do you like that?" And then he says, and he threw a couple of swear words in there. I don't know. We're not probably not supposed to swear, but um, it was pretty cool. And I saved it. But that's I
So
never
he's still
actually
your
read
idol,
it.
man. He's still your man. I mean, he gets you fired up, right?
I dare people. I dare people to try and pull off some of the stuff that he plays. It's not as easy as it looks.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, it's basic blues scale and this and that." No, it's the technique and the tone and how he does it.
And then you throw in Derek St. Holmes because he would wrote songs and he sang. You know
Great
what my favorite
voice.
song is that nobody knows about? It's a song called "Hey Baby."
That's one of my favorite
Isn't
Ted
that
Nugent
great?
songs. It's a fantastic
It's so
song.
well written,
Oh, absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely is. It's a great song. Um, this really something. I'm surprised that you brought that up because most people, even Ted Nugent fans are like, I don't know that one.
Well, what happened to him and Derek? Like, was there a fallout? Like, was it ugly? Like, what?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. For a little while there, what happened was, and that's why you saw Ted come out and sing a bunch of stuff by himself because they kind of butted heads because Derek St. Holmes was a great guitar player
Yeah,
and Ted didn't let him play enough. And he felt like, I'm just a singer, but my guitar playing is suffering being in this band. And so, and if you look, there's some live versions where he lets him play with him, live versions of Stranglehold where they play different parts. There's some live versions where they lets him do a guitar solo here and there. And that was their compromise. But I think at the end of the day, people come to watch Ted play
right.
guitar.
Plus, Ted probably has a huge freaking ego. I mean,
Absolutely.
right?
In fact, his response to the media was, "There's only one alpha dog in this band, and I'm it."
Do you remember he had a hunting show on TV?
Oh yeah,
That was cool, man. It was all about bows and arrows and
it
fucking
was. Did you see him cut his leg with a chainsaw?
no. He did it on TV, on film.
Right on TV. Yeah, he was doing his thing, and a chainsaw slipped, and it caught his leg,
Christ.
and everybody's like, was like, "Oh, look at that!" And then some of the guys are like laughing a little bit, and he's like, "It's not funny." He's just
So
give me a doctor. He's bleeding
yeah,
everywhere.
one of the reasons why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is complete bullshit is because guys like Ted Nugent aren't in it. I mean, he fucking put rock and roll on the map. I mean, he was the Motor City Madman,
He's unique. He's one of a kind. Why wouldn't he be in the Rock
and
and
he's a
Roll Hall
lot
of
older
Fame?
than people think. I mean, he was back. He was putting shit out in the '60s, man.
Boy Dukes, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's political. I mean, when you have people, and I'm not gonna knock on musicians that are great musicians, because there's some people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that just
This
I don't
rap in
think they
there
I
shouldn't be
don't think they
rap in there.
belong they don't
Yeah,
belong in the rock, but
it's not rock and roll, man.
no,
Rap.
I
Come
think
on.
I think there should be different halls of fame for different kinds of music, right? The Rap Hall of Fame.
Right.
I mean, let's face it, I was never a rap guy.
Pop Hall of Fame.
Pop Hall of Fame. But when you hear somebody who really, and I'm not a rap fan at all, but they're really good at what they're doing, I'm impressed.
You know, I talk about American rock and roll bands and rock stars. So, like, I'm a product of the '70s because I was born in '65. So I grew up listening to Ted Nugent, Kiss,
Yep.
right? I was a big Kiss guy, like a lot of guys in my neighborhood. You
Yep.
know,
I
'cause,
liked Kiss back in the day too.
went to see them
Absolutely.
live many times, right? Ted Nugent was always involved with that project. He was either touring for them or vice versa. And Cheap Trick was big back then,
Yep.
right? Aerosmith, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there were a lot of good American rock and roll bands.
Yeah.
Then the Kansas came out, the Boston came out. Um, it was just always on the radio, man. Van Halen. I mean, it was
Sticks.
always on the radio. We had this kick-ass rock station. What my nickname is K Rock because WXRQ was on the radio and there was a K Rock. So that it stuck in the 6th grade and people called me K Rock.
Sure.
So,
Makes sense.
and I have it to this day, but the point is that that station played nothing but that kind of music, dude. So I grew up to that shit.
Yeah.
First time drinking beer, first
Yeah.
time with my girlfriend, like in a car because we couldn't get into the bar. So we would hang out and put on the music and drink,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was a summer night and we could hang out. So the point is that that was the soundtrack to my life, bro. And I think
Yeah.
what you're doing, and I don't know if you're cognizant of it or not, but you're giving people that experience again, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I realize that, and a lot of people come up to us and go, "Man, nobody plays this stuff, and this is so awesome that you're actually playing. This is the stuff I grew up with, and can't believe you're playing this, and that's great." But I tell people this, I tell people that come out and see us all the time, and they're like, "I had such a great time. You guys was good." And I say, I say to them, "So you had a really good time. You enjoyed everything that you heard tonight and the band and all that kind of stuff. But let me just tell you something. We're having way more fun than you had." And it's the truth.
No, you wouldn't be doing it if you weren't.
I wouldn't be
Let's talk
absolutely.
about requests. Let's talk about tips. Let's talk about like a typical evening.
Yeah.
So you put a tip jar out, right?
Yeah, not all the time, but I would say most of the time we put a tip jar.
And I would assume like with Jacked Up, people may come up and request a song and then may say, all right, some guy might have $100 bill, says, hey, can you do this? Boom, puts it in.
Oh, yeah.
Then you kind of obligated to do it, right? 100's 100. And we are performers, right? So like somebody wants their Sweet Home Alabama, nobody likes to play that song because it's so played out, but people get off on it, so we'll do it. So
Yeah.
tell me about your experiences, like song people
I
requesting stuff.
I do have an experience. Um, we were offered $500 to do Bob O'Reilly.
That's a lot of money, dude.
Yeah, at the time
At a
we
bar?
um it was actually at the Dog Pound.
No shit.
And
The
and
dog
I
pound.
said that's a lot of money. And wait, was it 5? No, 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 it was 300 bucks.
Well, it's still a
It
lot
was
of money.
300 bucks. It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we're like, we don't know it right now. I said, but we're back here in like 2 months. We will play it.
You'll learn it.
And we learned it.
Yeah. Did you
We
say to him,
we
"I could
played
do
it.
one get fooled again instead"? Did you say that?
No, well, we already had done it. And
Oh,
he goes, but do you know Bob O'Reilly?
gotcha.
That Who stuff is tough because, they have the
Yeah, of
sequencer and the
course. That
synthesizer and
song,
all that kind
yeah.
of stuff. So I have to pull off something that sounds similar to that to get that vibe out of
Like
the
a loop thing
song.
going or something?
Yeah. It's like when we do some guy come up to me and says, "Dude, you don't have any bagpipes. How are you pulling off the bagpipes in that AC/DC song?" And I said, "Well, I found the notes on the guitar. I found the notes. I heard the sound, and bagpipes traditionally have this kind of like a swirling sound. So I kick in a phaser, phase 90, and then I put a delay in there, which makes it kind of swirl a little bit. And then I play those notes together that the bagpipe is using. It sounds like bagpipes."
Yeah, cool. I forgot about that. I should have mentioned that. You guys are known for that song too.
Yeah. I don't know. We wanted to do the song. It's a great song, and bands that do it, they do it without the bagpipes, and it suffers. And there's not a lot of bands that do it because it has the bagpipes. I figured, well, if I can pull it off, then why not?
I just remembered a sad thing. I'm gonna bring it up. Your old drummer was a friend of ours who passed away. He would come see us all the time.
Duncan. Yeah.
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 Such a nice guy.
Yeah.
He was with you for a number of years, right?
Um, about 10.
That's a lot. That's a lot of years.
Yeah. I mean, Duncan was like a family member. Um, Duncan was, what a lot of people don't know about Duncan is, he played in a lot of bands. He was all over the place playing.
He played with Tommy Balbo.
He loved to play drums. It didn't
I
matter.
think he filled in with us one night.
Yeah, he loved to play drums, and he could play a little bit of everything. He was never that flash playing the quads
Right.
and the triplets kind of guy. So but he was playing just, you know, good rock drumming.
Consistency.
Yeah, a little bit. And he had a great meter. Um, he was consistent with his snare and 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 a nice guy.
I had nothing but pleasant experiences with him. Every time I saw him, it was always a smile, a pat on the back, some good conversation, you know?
Well, when our first drummer left, we asked Duncan to be in the band. We said, "Hey, can you maybe?" I don't have time. I'm in several other bands already and stuff, and I just but we were just starting out, so he had only heard Steve and I do a couple of songs, and he wasn't even sure we had a whole show. We probably had about maybe 15, 18 songs or so like that. And then we ended up getting a different drummer, and and then we started to play around, and our names started to get known and stuff and everything. And then the other drummer, um, nice guy, nicest guy in the world. And I don't want to say anything bad about him, but we just, um, he just let his alcohol get in the way of the music. Let's just say that.
Sure.
Um, really talented drummer and a nice guy. Um, so and Duncan came back to us and he goes, "Oh, can I be your guy?" Because we started audition drummers. I'm like, well, you didn't want to play with us. He goes, "Yeah, but I do now." Okay.
Quick Duncan story, man. So you guys were playing Stragglers, and we were
Yeah.
playing in Gulf Gate at, like, whatever that bar was,
Yeah, back in the day.
the Boar's Head bar that
Chester's
became
Reef.
Chester's Reef.
Yeah, yeah.
So you guys went on break. He ran over, did a shot with me and my drummer, Timmy.
Absolutely.
Say hello to people, and then ran back to finish
Yeah.
your show.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We did a lot of things with Duncan. We have a lot of memories with Duncan, and you know, he was a Duncan was a one of a kind person. He just, you know, he lived his life the way Duncan wanted to live his life.
I was at his
Period.
wedding, dude.
Period. So
That
was I.
yeah.
So was
It
I.
was a good wedding. It was fun.
It was a lot of
In
fun.
fact, I think my band played a song or 2 or something. Didn't a bunch of bands get up and
Oh
play?
yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody did.
Yeah,
We got up and played.
yeah,
Um, his son got up there and played with
yeah.
us and stuff. But um, the one thing that I really admire about Duncan is he was non-compromising as to this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is how I live my life. And it- that's something you don't get from everybody else. Everybody's chasing somebody else,
Yeah.
chasing their
He was a real
identity,
guy. He was a real
chasing their
guy.
personality, chasing Duncan was Duncan.
Yeah, that's what I brought him up because he was a
Period.
solid dude,
Period.
no doubt.
That's how he was. And now I got to say one thing about Duncan. There's a lot of drummers in this city. We've had some drummers kind of sit in with us, and I I know a lot of drummers, and we went through a couple of drummers between Chris, our original drummer, losing his job and having to relocate. That's how he left the band. And when we got Duncan, and then we had the other guy that ended up leaving the band in there, and then now we got this next drummer. But when we were playing "Flirting with Disaster," when we were auditioning in drums, I knew it was a hard song to play. When Duncan first got in the band, I told him, I said, "We're gonna play Flirt with Disaster." He'd tell me, he says, "I'm gonna be honest with you. When I joined this band and you told me we are gonna play Flirt with Disaster, and I had to learn that song, I went, no, no, this is not it. This band is not for me. I'm never gonna play that song." And to this day, I can tell you of all the drummers I've worked with, nobody played Flirting with Disaster better than Duncan.
Interesting.
And it's a hard if you talk to drummers, ask them, "Hey, can you play Flirting with
Yeah.
Disaster?" It's a hard
Yeah, the
song to
timings, yeah.
play. There's a lot of kicks, a lot of timing kinda changes and some strange things that go on in the song, and, he killed it. Absolutely killed it.
Good deal. Look, as we wrap up,
Yeah.
how can people find out your schedule? Like, what's your social? What's your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff?
Um, we have our Facebook page, um, and, we post all our gigs on our Facebook
Is it
page.
nobodiesfool.com? Nobody Fool Band?
Nobody's Fool Sarasota
Gotcha.
is how you can find us
Okay.
on Facebook. We used to do the Go Tonight thing. We did it for the
Yeah, well, I just
longest
pulled out
time.
of there, I think, recently.
Yeah, something happened to the
Yeah,
page.
it's not user friendly.
I don't know what's going on with that anymore, but we stopped doing that. But that used to be how we would, get all our stuff.
So a lot of people are probably going to your Facebook to find you. Is there a website as well, or no, just a Facebook?
No, no, we
Okay.
don't have a website. We don't play as much as people might think we play. We play maybe twice a month.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm gonna come see you the first chance I get, or see you again, I should say, because I really enjoy your band, and you're a class act. I want to thank you for coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having
This
me.
is, this is going to be a great episode,
I don't know about
and
that.
we're going to put up some pictures of you and some video clips of you. You're going to send me all that stuff. We're going to put it in this video, and then
Okay.
people are going to see it. And I always jokingly, I tell people that now that you're on the show and it's going to be on the air, you're going to be mugged when you go to Publix, man. Like you're gonna have to get security now when
Why
you go to
Publix?
Publix, because people are gonna see you and be, hey man, you're the guy on the podcast show.
I don't know about that. Of all places, Publix?
Well, it could be the car wash. Who knows? I mean, it could be anywhere. It's a joke. I like to think that the show makes people that are famous even more famous, but it's just my crazy marketing idea.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta we all have a little bit of um, local fame, but I tell everybody, stay humble.
But don't you like it when somebody comes up to you, man, and says, hey man, aren't you that guy in that band? Like I get a lot of that now with the podcast. More people recognize me for the podcast than they do for Jacked Up. And I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's that sense of accomplishment, and that you're
Like I'm building something from scratch.
You're
You know what I'm
doing
saying?
something. Absolutely, yeah.
And they appreciate it because of guests like you. I have really interesting guests, and people like to hear like shit like you were just telling us, man.
Yeah, and you feel like all the time and effort that you put into it, like as much as I play my guitar, which is every day, I feel like, and guitar players know this. You feel like none of that would be worth it unless somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, that guitar solo was great. You guys sounded great." All the above.
We love the attention.
Yeah, then
It's human.
you feel like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But stay humble. I tell everybody, stay humble.
Well, on that note, we're going to close out. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
Today's sponsor is Encore Live, Sarasota Bradenton's #1 destination for live entertainment.